Hello, and welcome to issue 604 of Geek in the City Radio. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I am one of your other hosts, Bina Rita.
And I am your other host, Cable Hashitani.
How's it going, everybody?
You said it weird and it threw me off.
Oh.
Who said
Aaron.
what?
No, Aaron, he said it slightly differently. I think you normally just say, I am your host, Aaron Duran, and then I say, I'm your other host.
What did I say?
I am one of your hosts.
No, I think I always say I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm going to have to check back, but it felt weird.
Check the digital tape. I think why it might have felt weird is because as I was saying, why, hello, in my brain, I was like, should I insert something witty about being gone? And then the other part of my brain said, no, stupid, just start the show like normal.
It's always risky to call an audible.
It's true. Yeah.
Besides that, how's everybody doing?
Wait. Did you just ask how everybody's doing?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Wow. I've been gone for 2 weeks. Can you tell? Good. I actually got some really cool news today that I cannot say while we're streaming. I will tell you guys when we're not streaming.
Ooh.
Yep. Classic Aaron. I have news.
I have news, but I can't say it yet. Otherwise, it won't be. I have news.
No, that's fine. The less you can tell us about something publicly, the better I know the news is. So
that is usually true. Yeah, that does track very much so.
Yep.
I wasn't gone for 2 weeks, but I'm all discombobulated because Tuesdays are my Monday right now. Also, I'm working full time, and my brain is tired.
Right. Oh, so are you going to have Sunday, Mondays off?
It's only for now because I have a current Monday commitment and I haven't been replaced as a weekend driver yet.
Oh, that's right.
So it's an interim situation.
Right. That's right. I forgot about that part.
In fact,
Well, that's cool.
My last class is this coming Monday.
Okay.
It was only a
Nice.
6-week course.
It's only a 3-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour. I mean, the class is 3 hours each time.
Yeah, it's a good class though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It goes by really quick. Same with you get 2 hours of open studio time. Like there's certain blocks of time throughout the week that you're allowed to go in and work on your own, and you get 2 hours of that every week also. So essentially, it's 5 hours of learning and practice every week for 6 weeks.
Nice. That's cool.
I've been pretty satisfied with some of the stuff I've made.
Nice.
As you should be.
Yeah. So I hope you all want pottery for Christmas.
I don't not want pottery.
I like pottery.
I think within the realm of handmade gifts versus I bought this at a store, even if it's something the other person's gonna like. I would like to think that pottery that one makes to gift to other people is maybe in the upper echelons of gifting.
It is. I mean, I keep pretty much
so much equipment.
That's true. I keep almost everything I've ever been given as a handmade gift unless it physically falls apart.
Right.
I don't get rid of those things.
But I just mean in terms of it's less likely to fall apart. You have to actually break it. It doesn't wear out per se.
That's true. Right.
As an example. Plus all the equipment that's involved.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So yeah. Everyone's been busy then.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Cable, is the Forgotten Realms set drop last weekend or?
It's next weekend. Next weekend is the pre-release.
I keep wondering if I want a box or not.
You want a box?
Cable, I can't get back into Magic. And I'm not going to do it alone, so someone else has to join me. I like how Denise was like, it's going to be me.
I don't care about me. I don't care about Magic anymore, and I'm interested in getting this set. Come on, Doc. You can
Just
make
because it's cool looking?
Come on. Yeah, because it's D&D. Come on.
That's true.
Come on, Doc.
And it does look pretty freaking righteous.
It does.
Get a Tiamat card.
Yeah, like for me, that's part of it is like, oh, I want to see if I can pull a Tiamat. Because Tiamat.
Can you still just buy booster boxes?
Yeah, you can still buy booster boxes. There's 3 different versions of booster boxes now. There's the regular draft booster box. Spoilers, this is going to sound like an ad for Wizards product for Guardian Games.
That's fine. They're a fine sponsor.
They are a fine sponsor and a fine employer. Ding! But there's Wizards has now changed it up. So there's the draft boxes, which everyone's familiar with. Then they've created something called set boosters, which are somewhere in between the collector and the competitive player and the casual player. So they have cards that are a little more geared for what you want to do.
Okay.
And then there's the collector booster. And those are if you're playing modern or you're just collecting for resale value or completionism, those are the ones you want. But that starts becoming the difference between like the draft and set boosters usually are still like, $4 to $5 a pack. Collector boosters, depending on speculation, go anywhere between $10 to $20 a pack.
For like a 13 card pack or whatever?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like draft booster boxes it's a box of 36 boosters. Set booster boxes are 30. And I think collector boosters are 12.
Wow.
Yep.
Why do the collector ones more? Are they all foil, or what do they do?
Well, like they are just the higher end cards. It's also foil, but it's largely for things that people use in Legacy and modern play.
Mm-hmm.
Like modern format is probably the biggest moneymaker for stores that sell Magic and now for Wizards directly, because they went, oh, everyone's making money off of our old stuff. Let's change this. Let's buy into this whole modern thing. Modern format is you can play with cards from Mirrodin forward.
Oh, Mirrodin's a long time ago, right?
Yes, it was.
Like, long time ago.
Yeah. Versus like Legacy, which is alpha forward.
Right.
And both. That's also why Commander has become so popular, because Commander is you only have to have one of each card, or you can only have one of any particular card, as opposed to the rule of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Commander format is very casual, but it is also the entirety of Magic. Alpha forward. It just has different. You have to have a legendary creature to play your commander, and the colors of your commander are the colors of your deck. So if you have a blue, white, green legendary creature as your commander, then your deck has to be blue, white, and green.
I haven't played Commander before, but I've talked to people that are like, that's their favorite way to play, because it's just fun and it's
It's just designed to be super casual. It used to be called Elder Dragon League.
Cool. I am super curious about the set because it does look pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. The buy a box promo is Vorpal Sword.
Oh, is that still running too? The promo?
Yes. I haven't looked at the numbers recently because we've changed how we've done them, so I'm not doing a daily audit of these sales, which is great for my personal workload, but sits in the back of my head, makes me a little anxious about how any of this is getting fulfilled. But I have to embrace some change. So
That's fair.
We'll see.
I might check it out still. We'll see.
Yep.
I
I know that I'm going to play in the employee pre-release so that I can at least get a tiny kit.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure I'm maxed out on hobbies right now, so I'm gonna continue.
No magic for you.
Continue to resist the urge.
How about this? I have a suitcase. I have a briefcase full of commander decks. We can just play commander, and you can use any of my decks. That way, you don't have to collect everything.
That's a thing. That's an option. I enjoy playing, but yeah, the commitment of like buying cards and building decks, especially because I building my own decks came later and in a short window of all of my Magic experience.
Right. Yeah.
Are they still doing themed built decks with this set?
They are. I think they're doing commanders. They're doing commander decks for this, and
Yeah,
I don't remember what they are. I can probably look them up, but I don't want to.
No, don't do that. Yeah,
because it feels like work.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, let's quit talking about your work then.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're talking about Magic. I just don't want to, like, if I start looking at Wizards' website, then it becomes, wait, am I doing work?
Right, that's fair.
Because every time I like see a bit of news that Wizards updates, I'm like, well, crap, that's 3 hours of work tomorrow. Thanks, Wizards.
Oh boy. So on the show this week, we got what? We got a Bad Batch. We got some Loki shit that went down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got more Star Wars news with Star Wars Visions.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about this.
Oh, it's coming out. We'll get to it. But I think actually really quick before we get to the regular stuff on the show, I just want to give some thanks to the now late great Richard Donner, who created some of the best American movies ever. And I don't mean like film. Like, this is a guy who liked movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? He liked the idea of, like, you get your soda, you get your popcorn, and you're going to escape for 2 hours. And Donner was one of those directors that you could kind of throw any genre at him and he could do it. You know?
He does have an eclectic catalog of movies.
He's kind of that journeyman, or like kind of just, he's the working director. Not to say he didn't have a vision, but like, you know, he could kind of do any genre and he was very comfortable with it. And, you know, everyone else has said this before, and some people are much more well-spoken than I, but, you know, Donner's one of the people that helped me to believe a man could fly. Him, Christopher Reeve, and that John Williams score, you know. To this day, if I hear that opening John Williams score to Superman, I'm gonna fucking look up in the sky. I'm just gonna, you know, in my imagination, because like, there he goes, he's flying overhead, you know, keep fighting for truth and justice. So yeah, that was a loss. I mean, he was 91. That's a hell of a run.
Yep. And
a hell of a filmography. But you know, still, it's sad to see him go. But he's left an amazing legacy that will be enjoyed for many, many decades to come, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Like the Goonies is still a huge fan favorite. Then there's Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
What are the others that Matthew was rattling these off to me yesterday? I'm like, these are
So
all
many.
Donner? What the hell?
Yeah, a lot.
Maverick,
which Maverick has its fun points.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without question. Oh, Lady Hawk.
Yes, that was one that I didn't know was Donner.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I like me Lady Hawk.
Yeah, Lady Hawk. Scrooged was his. He directed the Cyndi Lauper Goonies video.
Nice.
The Toy, which is a movie you could never make now, but is still entertaining in its twisted ways.
Man.
Yeah, a rich white man
Jackie
literally.
Gleason and Richard Pryor.
Yeah, Jackie Gleason literally buys Richard Pryor's character so his son has a living toy to play with.
Mm-hmm.
We did The Omen.
That's right.
Yes.
Dominoes. He did The Omen.
He did The Omen and then did Superman.
Yeah, 2 years
There's
apart.
there's a wide berth of genres in this guy's oeuvre for sure.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff.
The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys and Free Willy.
That's not him. He produced The Lost Boys and Free Willy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
The
just
Lost
looking at
Boys
the...
is Schumacher.
Yeah.
Okay, why is it on here then?
Under production.
Probably under.
Should be
He
his
might have
producer.
produced it.
Producer credit?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm annoyed when they do that. I'm like, you've made a fool of me, Google. A fool.
Cuss you. His last official directed film was 16 Blocks, which I still maintain is the third best Die Hard movie ever made. It's good. It's Bruce Willis plays a cop who has to get Mos Def to basically like a trial, and they've got to go 16 blocks.
Yeah, I remember that movie. I think no, because Mos Def plays Ford Prefect, right?
Yeah, well, maybe I'm confusing it. Maybe it's not Mos Def. Hold on.
No, it totally is.
No, I am doing that horrible thing where I have confused. No, he is in it. Never mind.
Yeah,
no, he's totally
just
the guy.
His name isn't Mos Def.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, in the credits,
he stopped being Mos Def years ago.
I forgot. I think he was credited that in the original movie, and now IMDb has changed it to his name.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Yeah, no, so I'm looking at the cover image of that movie, and it does say Mos Def.
Okay.
But no, what I was gonna say is like, yeah, I think that's like one of the first movies I ever saw him in. But no, because he was in Hitchhiker's Guide, so that's probably the first movie I ever saw him in.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to take Mos Def's character or Yasmin Bey 16 blocks from the jail to the trial, so he can get on the stand.
It's a good movie.
And it's straight up, it's a Die Hard movie that they just clearly couldn't get the rights to do Die Hard. So yeah, that's an amazing filmography, and from all reports, a pretty nice guy. You know, he had his eccentricities like all people do. He was very, from what I had read, and if you watch his 80s films, you can see it. He was really big in the anti-apartheid movement against the South African government. He apparently donated a lot of movie money to it. And if you watch pretty much any of his 80s movies, like all the Lethal Weapon, Scrooged, you will see the Free South Africa poster everywhere in those movies. And they're always right in the shot. Like, they're not off the side, they're like in the fucking shot. So I believe that was one of his things. So he will be missed, as they say. Let's see. Well, before we talk about the Bad Batch, I guess, do you guys want to hear about the news that Disney dropped about Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let me bring it up here. Star Wars Visions. I remember them mentioning this a little while ago, and then I hadn't heard anything about it ever again. So Star Wars Visions is Lucasfilm and Disney working with some of the most famous and prolific anime creators in Japan, and they're all getting to tell their own Star Wars story.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I kept seeing the headline for that, but didn't read the article.
Yeah. Huh. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9 shorts that are coming out. And they're just, it's like they're running the gamut of styles. Like, you're going to have, force focused one, robot focused one. They're all, they're all different, with each one having that kind of different, each creator's different take on it and stuff. So it looks really cool.
Did they give any to Junji Ito?
To who?
Junji Ito.
I do not see their name.
Okay,
but a couple of these things are the studios, not the person.
Gotcha.
I watched the trailer today, and I forgot one of the creators had said that it's a pleasure and an honor that Star Wars is going to be his last anime. It's a man who's retiring.
Oh
wow.
So he gets to go out doing Star Wars.
I'm sorry, I think I just learned a new word. Is mangaka the name for a person who creates manga?
I do
Nobody?
I do
I
not
don't know.
I'm not familiar with Junji Ito, so I looked them up, and it says, is a Japanese horror mangaka. And I'm like, I think I know what that means, but I've never heard that word before.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Oh. And this is gonna be his last? No, I'm sorry. I'm crossing what you guys said.
Yep.
Yeah. When you watch the trailer, you'll see that one of the creators says on the subtitles reads like, my final anime work is going to get to be Star Wars, and he's like, and that couldn't make me happier. It looks pretty amazing. Because the styles are all different. There's a shot that you see in one of them. I don't even know whose it's going to be. I just was captivated by this image. It's an X-wing that is clearly like crashed in the desert or in some wilderness. And it's, crashed nose first. So like its S-foils are open and stuff. And these two, either kids or little robots, whatever, have basically built a lot of umbrellas, and they just hang out under it as like their source of shade. It's just this image. I was like, that's really cool looking. Like it's just machine of war that is no longer capable of, causing destruction or whatnot. And here's two people that have put some umbrellas to hang under it, and they're just chilling under this broken X-wing. I'm like, yeah, that's a neat image.
That actually gives me some Battle Angel vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. One of them, they said that he just straight up wanted to do a samurai duel, but with Jedi. And you see a close-up of the sabers. Like some of the art, they show close-up the sabers, and it's got the wrapping of the katana. Like I forgot what the wrapping has a specific name. I forgot what it's called. And you get a close-up of it, and it looks more like a glowing katana blade than a lightsaber. It even has the the guard, which also has a specific name. Either way, it looks cool, and I'm pretty jazzed for that. Suba, that's what I was thinking of. I've watched enough Forge and Fire. I should remember the damn thing was called a Suba. Yeah, so we get that in September.
Oh wow, that's soon.
That's soon.
Yeah, it's very soon. Some fun stuff.
I'm on Wikipedia taking a look at the different directors, seeing if any names stand out to me.
Yeah, I'm over at just StarWars.com, and they're listing the studios, but not the some of the creators. So like I recognize the studio of Science Saru. Yeah, looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's what got me going. That's what got me excited a little bit today. So
that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to watch this video later.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could watch it now, but yeah, just not gonna work for this one.
No,
no, not at all. Disney shuts that shit down. Toot sweet.
Yep, not even a little.
Not even a little bit. Yeah.
Which again is similar to that lesson of if you want to make sure that your sex tape never gets out into the public, put Disney music on in the background.
Yeah, that's biting us in the ass though, because a shitty cop is playing Taylor Swift songs while they pull people over, because that also gets cam footage yanked.
No, really? I heard that didn't work.
Oh, okay. Well then good.
Yeah, I did hoist petard.
Good.
That guy.
But I bet stupping to Disney music will still get your video.
Yeah, yep. No. That's what I was gonna say. Is like no. The only thing it guarantees is that the video won't stay on the internet. It does not prevent it from going onto the internet and how many people see it before it gets pulled.
Right.
Just a warning for anyone who might seriously be considering a sex tape, but then also putting Disney music in it.
Also, who cares if you want to put a sex tape out there? Who the fuck cares?
No, I'm just saying, if your goal is to make a sex tape, but you want to make sure it doesn't end up on the internet,
don't use a cell phone. That's what you do.
Oh, apparently we also don't use Audacity anymore.
Yeah, I got to find a workaround on that. Although you can still go in and just turn off all the things they do.
I
Sure.
totally meant to ask you about that because I learned about it last night.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't actually know if we're still using Audacity.
We
But
are.
I assume to edit and stuff.
Yeah. I haven't updated it in like 2 years because it still works fine for me.
Mm.
And you can also just go in because they finally went up and said, well, no, you can just turn all that off. But they should have said that first before the story came out.
Yes, they should.
Yeah. So yeah, I will probably still use it just because it's here and I don't feel like dealing with anything else right now.
Fair.
I just turn off all those settings. It's fine.
I mean, sometimes that's the best that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, they already know everything about us. The best we can do is mitigate the exposure, you know? So, because again, if you don't pay for something, you are the product.
Yep.
Yeah. But things we do pay for.
Is our Disney Plus subscriptions?
It's our,
Yes.
yeah, no, I love how we're paying for it. And then I'm sure Disney's like, man, we feel really bad. This Geek in the City Radio is giving us a lot of free press. Let's help them out. Yeah, because they're thinking that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. But yeah, let's jump into the Bad Batch this week.
Yeah. All right. So this episode was titled Common Ground. And it's a little bit of a departure in terms of story arc.
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming right off of the heels of, everyone almost nabbed Omega and got away with her.
Right.
And so now Hunter is being really cautious, and they're about to be sent on a mission to rescue a senator who made a last-minute decision to defy the new empire.
Right.
So so now he's on lockdown. They're gonna go save that guy, and Hunter says, "Omega, you can't come with us on this because the place is gonna be just teeming with stormtroopers. These Era 1 stormtroopers." So she stays behind. There's a little bit of a B plot there with Omega, although I think it has some pretty significant elements.
Mhm.
And Unit 99 do you think they still call themselves that?
I guess so, because they don't refer to themselves as the Bad Batch, right?
No, I don't think so.
No. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
they probably still. Although this episode might have them slowly changing what they call themselves as, because a couple of the Bad Batch had to come to terms with some of their own personal thoughts as to a separatist needing help.
Yeah. All right. So that's generally the bones of the issue of the episode here. I don't know which direction you guys want to go in first.
Well, let's talk about the whole kind of. This is now the second time that these troops have kind of had to deal with a moral question about who are good guys, who are bad guys now.
Mm-hmm.
When basically Sid said, like, you guys are mercenaries now. Like, you do the job so you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, wait, we're risking our lives to help a separatist, for that, to help the person that's why there was a war.
Yep.
Although one can argue that Palpatine manipulated the whole fucking war.
Right,
There's
but
the argument. He did.
But they don't know that, and also they, tangentially, they have not come to terms as a group or as individuals on how they feel about the new empire that replaced the republic that they served. Like it's different, but it's the same, and they haven't really hashed out the particulars to decide whose side, if anybody, they want to be on in that situation.
Yeah. I did really like this. Kind of actually felt it gave a vibe of like an old school Clone Wars episode. And that is, here's the mission, sneak in, get our target. Oh shit, things go wrong. Oh shit, things are getting even more wrong. Let's get crafty. We did it. And that's not a dig on it. I kind of liked, sometimes you want that just kind of traditional plot of like mission, amp up, denouement. They did it.
And I think that's by design, since that was not the point of the story.
Correct.
The point of the story was for Echo, who of the batch of Clone Unit 99, he was the most vocally against the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Tech doesn't care because all Tech cares about is data. Wrecker just wants to blow things up,
Right.
and Hunter just wants to do the mission.
Right.
But like Echo and his former crew, fighting separatists was very much on the forefront.
And Echo's the one who has been like literally the most scarred by the Clone Wars.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the real story was for them to interact with this senator and have them go, wait, who are, like you were saying, who are the bad guys?
Right.
Senator Old Man Bashir.
I know. I was going to say, Old Man Bashir is the senator.
I didn't look at the credits, but I went, I think that's Alexander Siddig.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Alexander Siddig.
What's funny is while I was watching it, I was sharing a meme of Bashir talking to Garrick. And then like a moment later, Christian's like, oh, that's him right there on the TV. That's him talking right now.
Right.
So I don't know that. I mean, he probably would have told me anyway, but I wasn't looking for it. It just so happened.
Right. I found the scene where the senator refuses to, like, he starts to give the speech, so like, we must welcome the Empire, and then he changes it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was actually very effective in how chilling it felt that when they pulled the senator away, like the ATTEs,
mm-hmm.
like just start to march on the people, and the stormtroopers like hold blasters on like civilians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we know in Star Wars, but we don't see it that often in more of their animated features, because even though the Empire is, a wholly evil fascist government, again, it's for kids. So you gotta toe that line. And I think they did a pretty good job of it with that one.
And see, I was thinking that this that part of this episode, the overall story of the episode was very reminiscent of Clone Wars episodes, because they were a lot more political, and there was a lot of like, Ahsoka in her younger days being like very black and white about who is right and wrong, who's good and bad, and then sort of working her way through all of these gray areas amongst the things that her leadership does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think in a time where a lot of fascist movements are rising up in a lot of different countries to counter protests, more leftist groups that have been, vocal over the last couple of years, it's a little chilling to see.
Yeah.
And like, hey, one guy in charge is like trying to do the right thing, even if it is at the last moment, and then like here come the troops.
Yeah. And the almost pleasure that the Imperial officer has in giving that order, kind of thing.
I think that you can interpret it. I'm sorry. I interpret that as they're trying to get across to the viewer that while the Empire is doing this planet by planet, system wide throughout the Old Republic,
right?
If the planet was a separatist planet, they already have the order of, if they give you any guff, just start killing people.
Yeah.
Because they were on the wrong side of the war. So yes, they're part of the Empire now, but we can just kill them if you need to. And yes, this comes directly from the Emperor himself.
Right.
Like that, in my mind, it makes sense from a storytelling standpoint that would be the directive. They don't ever have to say it. They can just hint at it, like a slightly gleeful Imperial officer. It's like, oh, they're not going to do what we say. Cool, I can kill some people today.
Yeah.
Darn. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get that next lozenge on my lozenge badge.
I'm gonna get my second red Ludens.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. And then, we get back to Omega's story, where they are now dropping even more information about the vast knowledge that Omega has within her, like tactics, how quickly she learns. And I don't know. I am slowly pulling away from her being force sensitive.
I don't think she is, because I think the reveal of last week of her being like Boba, which means that they could use her to extract genetic material that can be used to make more clones.
Right.
I think that's the reveal, and not that she was just a force sensitive prototype.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I feel too.
Because it's just as significant a reveal to stories they're going to tell in this universe, having her be the sister to Boba Fett that he has no idea exists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Until she shows up on Book of Boba Fett this fall.
Yeah, it's true. And also, to go back to something you guys talked about a little bit last week, I've been paying closer attention. It sounds weird, but to the actual, to Omega's actual skin tone.
Mm-hmm.
She's not pale white.
No.
No, but she's definitely light.
She would look like she could be, like Cable had mentioned, all they have to do is find a Hapa actor to play her.
Mm-hmm.
And because she kind of looks like that a little bit in the show.
They need to find a Hapa actress that also resembles Timura Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
They do that, they're set.
Yeah. And they don't have to be super close, but close enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is awful. They just need to look close enough that white people think they look like they're related.
That's sad but true.
Because most of them think all Asians look alike anyway.
Aww.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
Sorry.
what do you want?
I'm laughing because I just literally yesterday watched the MASH episode, one of the poker ones where Pat Morita is playing poker with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about some officer, and they ask Pat Morita's character, you know who we're talking about, right? And he says, "Don't look at me. Y'all look the same to me." I love those episodes because it's always Pat Morita's character and Sydney, the psychologist. They're always fun. Sigmund. Anyway, a little MASH digression there.
Right. So we learn more about Omega's abilities yet again, but this time it sort of happens just by coincidence rather than because the mission called for a particular skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She's stuck. She got left behind on this mission, and she's sulking about it as any young person would, but especially when you've already been given an opportunity to feel like part of the team, and she has contributed. And she also either doesn't want to be fazed by what happened to her in the previous episode, or actually is not fazed by it. Either way, she wants to keep doing what she's been doing.
Right.
So it's a big disappointment to her to be left behind with Sid, but then that's how she ends up playing. What is that game called? Just the 3D.
We've just always called it 3D chess. I don't.
Dejaric.
Dejaric.
I found it already.
There you go.
I knew if I scrolled a little further, I've got a page up with notes here. So yeah, Sid starts playing Dejaric with some customers and is apparently not very good at it. And Omega volunteers a strategy and she wins very quickly, and they're annoyed. And she's like, "It's just a strategy game. I happen to be very good at strategy." Next thing you know, the Sid's bar is full of people, and it looks like a fucking derby day in there. But it's
full on
but
hustling. I love it.
Yes,
Yep.
I know. My D&D character would be so proud. Yeah, she's basically hustling a whole bar full of people at Dejarik. And that's right about the time that Hunter et al. Return from their mission, and he is not pleased. Which I think makes sense. Like he specifically asked her to keep a low profile because people are looking for her, and they don't fully know to what extent or like to what ends people are gonna be willing to go to get her. They rescued her, but they know it's probably not over.
And he's just, I think it's that this Hunter has just become incredibly protective of her.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter is definitely moved into the, not just a father figure role, but feels like a father. He feels like a parent.
Yeah, exactly.
No one else is a caretaker or inclined to be a caretaker for her in the same way. I think the closest you get is Wrecker, but that's more like a big brother.
Yeah,
Wrecker is 100% her big brother.
Yeah, that's what he does. And the other two are just like cousins or uncles, like they're, you know. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Tech is going to be the aloof one that by the time that Omega becomes an adult and like she has a conversation, it's like, yeah, I figured you just never cared about me. You talked, it's like, I believe that by letting you be competent and on your own, I was demonstrating exactly how I felt that you were more than capable of taking care of yourself, and I respected that.
I can see that.
Yeah. You know what it totally reminded me of? Because I was thinking that too, Cable. It reminded me of all things, the scene in Star Trek Beyond when both McCoy and Spock think they're going to die when the ships are coming in. And McCoy says some line of like, well, at least you'll be glad to get rid of me. And Spock says like, you know, Leonard, I've always respected you. I had assumed you felt that our arguing was a sign of how I respected you.
Yeah.
You know. And then Bones is like, you don't need to say it, Spock. Don't make it weird. So that was
now I want to watch Star Trek Beyond again.
Oh, it's so good. We should do a commentary of that movie.
We should.
Have we never? We haven't. Good God.
We have only the show.
We haven't done commentary on any Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
Only the shows.
The show in general, this podcast has done one Trek commentary. We did Wrath of Khan 13 years ago. It was still Film Fever Radio when we did that.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
But that doesn't even count then, you know?
And it's wholly embarrassing because there was like 8 of us, and by the end we're all hammered, and there is not a dry eye. Yeah, there's just a lot of snot in the last 10 minutes of that commentary.
We should do, but we can't start at Star Trek Beyond. We have to like do some early ones and then move into the modern ones.
Who says? We make the rules.
Yeah. Dude, we won't.
Exactly.
Fine, that's what I want.
Okay.
Okay, very well.
That's different.
Because I feel like that's the right way to do it.
Okay.
Completionist.
Well, then that means we do it as a marathon.
Oh God.
That's what you.
Well, we're still talking about marathons.
You keep talking about these marathons, dude. I'm like, no. It exhausts me every time. It's like, no.
Or it is exhausting.
I mean, I think that's like the definition of marathon.
I guess that's true. She's got us, Cable. She's beaten us with logic.
Hoist, petard, you guys.
No. Go ahead, sorry.
So Hunter's not super pleased, but you know, Omega very maturely states her case. She's like, look, you left me behind when I didn't want to be left behind, but I want to contribute. I'm not a little kid, like I keep saying. Oh, and by the way, you're out of debt now. You're welcome.
I love that.
That was the kicker.
As soon as she made that first move on the board and Sid is like, what? And Omega is nonplussed, I was like, okay, she's about to clear them.
Yeah.
Yep. I think one of the tiniest bits of business in that whole scene was when the crew is coming back and they start interacting with Omega. Wrecker body checks Hunter and looks at him and he looks at him in a way that it's like, that was not, it's like, you don't look at your commanding officer that way.
Right.
But you look at your brother that way when it's like, dude, you fucked up, fix this.
You were a dick.
Yep. And that was fantastic. It was just that subtle, he just body checks him, and Hunter's like, what the? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Right.
Okay. Yep, I'm going to fix this now.
And he does, by then sitting down to play 3D chess with her.
Mm-hmm. And
you know she wins.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And you know that he also doesn't go easy on her. Like, Hunter probably plays his best version of that game, and Omega's going to beat him.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've said it in previous episodes. I'm still really on board with the portrayal of Omega as a believable child and a believable character, and a character full of their own agency, and yet still having all of the inexperience of being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the confidence in all of her skill sets.
Where did it go? Bex in the chat had mentioned, I appreciate Omega's confidence. She doesn't downplay what she's good at just because she's young.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very much in line with what you're saying. Yeah, she's not a little shithead. She's not a little know-it-all. She's just, comfortable saying, I understand this. You don't need to talk down to me. You don't need to over-explain it to me. And you don't need to treat me like a baby. Yeah,
no, and it totally fits with her character. Because Omega sees herself as a member of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, I think Hunter, until this episode, sees her as just a child that he has to keep safe. And his attitude, I think, will shift from here on. And Wrecker has seen her as part of the... Because I remember at the beginning of this episode, even Wrecker is kind of surprised, like, what do you mean we're leaving Omega behind? Like, he has that look of like, she's a member of the team. What do you...
I mean, it's weird for everyone because she's never been left behind before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it shows when Hunter, when they're in the field, tells her to go take position with, Echo.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tech's the one's like, that's going to be somewhat impossible since Omega isn't here.
Right.
Because you told her not to be here.
And Hunter just is like, God damn it. Oh, man. I showed my whole hand.
Yeah.
To the guy that doesn't forget anything and never lets me live it down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a solid episode, and we are now sliding into the back six, because that was 10. So we've only got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We got 6 left.
Yep. And I'll bet that last episode is an hour long. Just
Maybe.
like the pilot was.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
That's right. I forgot about that. It was an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. That whole first episode was just chock full of, so this is the show it's going to be. Okay. Right. It's like, first we're going to, show you the death of Depa Bilaba in front of Caleb Doom.
Right.
And then a whole shit ton of Tarkin.
Also, did you guys notice last week when you mentioned it, the Kaminin who was killed?
I didn't.
I
didn't notice that, but I read up on it.
Boba's, the one that he looked at, gave the impression Attack of the Clones was the one he kind of treated as like mom or big sister.
Right.
Interesting. Well, I mean, there are only 3 Kaminoans in the room where those decisions are happening, and there's the what is he, a chancellor? Did we say
Prime Minister?
Yep. Prime Minister.
And then the other one is the one who worked with or raised or developed or maybe all of those things for Omega. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that makes sense. I guess it's kind of weird that none of us ever thought about it, but until then.
Right.
I didn't remember the name. It wasn't until I saw it on the internet later that someone pointed out, it's like, oh, that's so and so from Attack of the Clones. I'm like, well, of course it was. Yeah,
I remember watching it in just that moment. It's like, well, that's harsh. She's gone.
Yep.
And then I think we'll move on to Loki here in a minute, but
Mhm.
one thing that's been kind of sitting in the back of my mind, and I have been very guilty of doing it also when it comes to Bad Batch. Like Dave Filoni should be given accolades and for really kind of being a good shepherd for Star Wars lately. He doesn't write hardly any of these episodes. It's a woman named Jennifer Corbett.
Good to know.
You'll see her. She's on the end credit. It always says The Bad Batch by Dave Filoni and Jennifer Corbett. He's the EP on it, but I do believe these are mainly written by her.
Nice.
That is good to know, because I'm a jerk and I don't pay attention to the credits like ever.
I mean, I guess I've never thought that it was always I didn't think it was always written by Dave Filoni or directed by Dave Filoni. I think of Dave Filoni the way I think of Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
In that they're just there to kind of go, nope, move that a little to the left. Yep, there.
Yeah.
There you go. Now that's a Star War.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I assumed it was a writer's room.
I mean, this is a whole other conversation. The way Hollywood has been kind of shifting how writers are credited and who gets a credit for an episode is a pretty big debate right now. That's why you see a lot of writers now listed as producers. It's weird. And I honestly don't know enough to really dive into that kind of controversy yet. But yeah, there's some things going on. And speaking of things going on,
the loosest transition ever.
Well, I was gonna say, if you haven't seen Loki yet, I mean, you should. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Yeah,
because there's no way to not make these spoilers because Loki got pruned. Spoilers. Yep. now we can go back into start talking. Just pull the Band-Aid. Loki and Mobius pruned.
I was more surprised about Mobius getting pruned than Loki getting pruned. There's something about the fight, the choreography of the fight went, oh yeah, Loki's not making out of this. Sylvie is, but Loki's not.
It was so unceremonious.
I kind of figured around episode 2 that Mobius was not going to survive the whole series. And I was with you, Cable. I was like, Loki will survive. But yeah, I watched that fight. And when she goes down and Loki turns his back and starts talking, I'm like, oh yeah, we just saw him knock her down. Like,
yep.
I wasn't sure it was going to be a pruning. I thought she was going to like ram a sword through his chest, or it was going to be something else. I didn't expect a pruning. But I remember thinking like, oh, this is good fight scene. This has been so blatantly telegraphed that something's coming.
The more I think about it, the more that they have telegraphed a lot of this show, and yet it still manages to be a surprise.
Right.
Somehow. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like everything leading up to this episode has told us that the timekeepers are not what they appear to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute, like when we were sitting watching it, as soon as that scene came up and the doors open and they go into the room and they're the timekeepers, I said aloud, I just couldn't help it. Merrick just looked at me. I'm like, oh, it's the Wizard of Oz.
I know.
It's like, this is 100% totally the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Yeah. All I thought was like, the same thing. I'm like, boy, do these things look janky. These are not these immortal beings. They're okay.
Oh yeah. Once they go into the room, you're like, oh yeah, that's not real.
Yeah. They're the Hall of Presidents at Disneyland.
Yeah, totally.
They're animatronics. Hi, dog.
And not unlike some real presidents, empty inside.
That's true.
Yes.
But before we dive into the episode more, you know what this also means? That all TVA agents were once humans that have been altered?
Yes.
What that all really means is that Casey really could have been Pillboy.
I don't get the reference. I'm sorry.
It's The Good Place again.
Oh, I haven't finished that.
Speaking presumably you get some personality restructuring done when you join the TVA too.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like with Casey, it there's a little bit left behind, you know?
Oh yeah.
So some of the former they all have individual personalities, so clearly some of the former self is still there.
We'll know it's true if he gets awakened and the first thing he does is throws a Molotov cocktail to make his situation better because his Molotov cocktail makes everything better.
It doesn't make everything better. It just gives him a new
problem. That's right.
When I have a problem, I throw a Molotov cocktail in it, and then I have a different problem.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
I think I'm gonna watch that again.
Yeah. Anyway, so what do you guys think about Renslayer? Do you think she's working for somebody else, or do you think she is, quote, the big bad?
No, she can't. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she could be like the top of that pyramid, but we just learned in that same episode that at one point she was a hunter, and that's sort of like why she's so hardcore about going after this variant, is because Sylvie got away from her back in the day.
Right.
When she was a kid.
Right. So at some point she was lower down on a lower rung than she is now, and has since worked her way up. But does that mean she is the top? I doubt it. There's a lot of power in the TVA, and
yeah,
I expect that the people holding the reins, the individuals holding the reins, are probably not human, even though they're clearly sourcing humans to do their bidding.
Specifically, variants. They're taking other variants in.
I'm sorry, that wasn't even accurate because Loki's not a human.
Right. I don't think that Renslayer is the big bad. I don't think she knows who the Timekeepers are either. I don't think she really knows who's in charge of the TVA. I do have a theory as to who that is.
Oh, yes?
It's another goddamn Loki.
Oh my God.
Because
I'm going to be so mad if you're right.
I think it's Loki because one of the things that Loki has wanted to do is to prove himself the superior Loki over the variant Loki, which is Sylvie. What better way to lord over all Lokis that you are the best Loki than to out Loki by creating the TVA?
That is a long game.
It is.
Yep.
It sort of helps to explain why when Loki wakes back up, he is surrounded by other Lokis.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that anytime a variant gets pruned, other versions of themselves are just standing there waiting around for you.
Yeah, you don't go to variant heaven. Yeah. You just don't exist.
To be immediately greeted by your other variants.
Yeah.
No, that's weird. It doesn't.
Yep.
There's no purpose to that.
Right.
I loved the fact that one of the those variants was good old classic 1960s skull cap Loki.
So good. And it's played by Richard E. Grant.
Yes. Who, he's kind of already Loki.
Hey, yeah.
And already under contract with Disney.
I read a breakdown of that scene and that his suit looks the most beat up, suggesting he is the variant who has been here the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was
page open for that.
It was really great. Every time I see Kid Loki, I smile. Just makes me happy.
Yep.
That is now our fourth Young Avengers reference.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't telegraph that shit any harder if they tried to.
Oh, I don't think they're hiding it anymore.
No, they know they're doing it. Yeah, they've said they're doing Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Because America Chavez is showing up in, is it Spider-Man or
Multiverse of Madness?
Multiverse of Doctor Strange. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hawkeye has their own show.
Right.
I suspect that Cassie will have her debut in the next Ant-Man and the Wasp movie.
Right.
Along with the Fantastic Four.
Right. Well, you still need Hulkling, right?
That's true.
Who you could get in Secret Invasion.
Yes, you could.
Yep. Because he's a Skrull, right?
Yes, he is.
Yep. I, for one, can't wait for Young Avengers. If it's even a fraction as good as the comic was, I'm going to be so damn happy. I love that comic so much.
Yeah. It's a good comic.
Yeah. Yeah. Avengers Academy was beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah,
Anyway.
nothing.
Yeah. You should I'll find them for you, Bean. You'd like them.
Like, I kind of... Like, I was theorizing... Was I saying this last week that I was theorizing that I feel that by the end of this series, we were... Like, the Loki that we have known will get pruned, and his... Or not pruned, but like the timekeepers would go, here's your reward, and his reward is getting turned into Kid Loki so that they have a Kid Loki to continue on, and Tom Hiddleston can presumably take on other roles or direct.
Sure. Yeah.
That ties in with, you know, just the various MCU actors sort of retiring out of being in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I want
the fourth guy.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that I kind of like about the MCU is that it forces legacy characters as opposed to comics that like no matter what happens, Tony Stark's always going to end up back in the suit one day.
Yep.
Thor, Odin's son is always going to get the hand. Like they're just that is the nature.
Even if the character starts to age out, they can just reboot the franchise. Yeah,
I mean that's just the nature of modern comics, and again, that's a whole nother discussion of whether that should change. But the fact that you're using humans forces your hand, and that there's a lot of interesting storytelling potential there because then you do have people that are having to deal with legacies, good and bad.
Yep.
Like
I think that we're gonna get that with the Black Widow movie. Now that drops this weekend.
That's this Friday. Finally, now third time's a charm of us saying, "Is it Friday?" It is Friday.
Yes, it is.
I might go see that in the theater.
I've not yet given thought to going to a movie again.
I'm a little more reticent. I wouldn't have been if Portland collectively hadn't just gone, cool, everything's over.
Right.
We can go back to normal. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
2020 never happened.
Yeah. I think the one thing that will help me go back to a theater if I do see this is that as a rule, thankfully because of working from home, I'll go see a matinee at 11:30 in the morning.
That's fair.
Where even during pre-pandemic, there was 10 people in that theater.
Right.
I'd have a whole row and I was like, awesome.
Oh, man. See, that's why going back to work sucks.
I'm still working. I just give myself a long lunch break.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do a matinee either these days.
No, I mean, weekend ones are, if you go early enough, they're still not that bad.
That's
even,
true.
Yeah.
Go during church hours.
Yep.
That's a good idea. I'm trying to think about what else, I mean, this was the episode where you see I feel like the real growth in Loki. It's the first time Loki honestly is thinking about someone else and not just himself. He's legitimately worried about Sylvie.
Which is after admitting the fact that having the realization that he is a narcissist, which that's a difficult step to take as a narcissist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of all of the messed up things that people can be or do, admitting you're a narcissist is is so antithetical to being
A narcissist.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, if you're an alcoholic, it's hard to admit I'm an alcoholic. I need help. But I think, yes. Like
To some
But-
degree,
right
I
on
trust sociopaths more than I trust narcissists.
Yeah. I mean, you can make the argument that when an alcoholic, when they start to get to that stage, they know they have done something wrong. By definition, a narcissist just can't accept that fact.
Mhm.
It's just impossible
Mhm.
because I'm me. So for them to make that step, that is a huge step.
Mhm.
You know, I also appreciate Loki telling Mobius that he's still mad at him. He's like, why? Because I lied to you about your girlfriend? He's like, no, that I respect. That was Loki game recognizing game. Like, no, that was fun.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, about narcissism and because I killed your girlfriend or lied about your girlfriend. So Mobius obviously is insinuating that like he's in love with himself basically, because and like, wow, man, yeah, that is some real narcissist shit. But even like the Wikipedia entry for this episode says that Loki and Sylvie were having a romantic moment, which is, I don't know how they got that. That's what got them on the radar for the TVA to find them and pull them off that planet, Lamentus, before it was imploded. I didn't really, I'm having a hard time believing that they are, in fact, having romantic feelings for each other.
I 100% got that they were having romantic feelings for one another, because that was
so easy.
I don't think it is.
Please finish your thought.
I think it's. I don't think it's. If you take it as they are just a male and female character, yes, they are. They would trauma bond like any other male and female character put in that situation. These are two beings that are the same person from different parallel universes and different timelines. So it's akin to, there are people that if you say, what would you do if you cloned yourself? And there's a percentage of people that go, oh, I'd immediately fuck myself because I'm hot.
Oh no, that's a total trope. My favorite is Broad City.
But I do think that I think the ramifications of it are still yet to be revealed. But yes, they were going somewhere with, yeah, I think Aaron touched on it too, where Loki feels something for someone else that's not himself, and yet at the same time it is.
It is.
Right.
It's still him, but that starts touching on acceptance of yourself and acceptance of self-love, and
Which is different from narcissism.
yes,
Yeah.
and that they're starting to say that accepting who you are and loving yourself is the way to change and reshape the universe.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, when you put it that way.
I think there is something of a romantic bent to that. Not necessarily in the classic sense of couples getting together are romantic, but a romanticized ideal. So, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just figured the TVA saw that giant spike because it was two variants touching, which just showed more power.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see
It
any
also-
emotional thing as what triggered the spike. It was just they went like that, and the system went two variants in the same spot, kind of thing.
I mean,
That we're also about to make out.
perhaps.
emotions is what brought Wanda into like her peak power she did not even know she had.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the first time that they've toyed around with this concept.
That's true.
The way you've broken it down, Cable, makes it a lot more valid as a storytelling mechanism to me. Then I'm just like, All right, you put a dude and a guy, a guy. You put two people who are capable of being sexually attracted with each other in the same room, and it's going to happen. I'm like, that's so basic.
I like how Bex in the chat just said he actually just fucks himself, and that's how the universe spins out and gives us the What If series.
That's what I laughed at. I saw that pop up, and I'm like, that's fantastic.
Oh no, I'm like missing the chat here.
Nicely done, Bex.
I did want to share what Norm wrote, what he's thinking. So I'm just going to read this verbatim because it'll be easier if I can get that page to work. Man, I think that this episode of Loki did something to me. I brought forth an idea about what the meta of the show is, and I think it's coming to terms with sexuality and religion. Loki comes to terms with what he is in this show, and the TVA stands in for religion.
I mean, that's very close to what you were saying, Cable.
Mhm.
And if it is more about sexuality versus like self-love and like self-respect and acknowledgement, even then, like it's something that if that's what it is, they've been hinting at it, like, you know, to going all the way back to the first episode with the forums, like gender fluid, something that has never been broached or mentioned in the MCU prior to this. And then the idea of being physically attracted to someone who is basically you, whether it's the same gender or not, or your alligator self, what have you. I like where this is going.
Yeah, I'm definitely, and we've only got 2 episodes left. Yeah, we got 2 left.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's been a coworker shared with me a TikTok that has postulated another theory, and so I'm going to bring hers forth. She's like, okay, there's 6 episodes of Loki. There are 6 Infinity Stones. The first episode was very much orange, which represents, I don't remember which one it represents.
I don't remember either. I think orange was the soul gem.
Yes, and then the episode dealt with a lot of soul searching.
Right.
The second episode is heavily red, which is which is the reality stone, and then dealt with Loki questioning his reality a lot. The next one was purple. That's when he and Sylvie are on the planet together. Everything is purple, which is the power stone, and it's the power dynamics between the two. They are literally looking for a power source.
Right.
Episode 4 is gold or yellow, which is the Mind Stone, and Loki changes the mind of Mobius about what the TVA is. It's like, okay.
Also, I want
time
and space.
Time and space. So green and blue.
Going back to episode 3, the power stone is purple. Purple can give, like, a purple lighting can cast off a little bit blue and a little bit pinkish at times, depending on angles and how much light there is. And that style of lighting, that's like bluish, pink, purple sort of fluid, is referred to frequently as bisexual lighting.
Yes, it is.
And the inability to sit normal in the chair.
Yep.
What?
You've never heard that joke that you can always tell
can't sit in chairs.
They can't sit in chairs normally. You'll see them like put one leg over the arm, or they'll like lay down on a back.
I don't own that.
I sorry, they got to take it.
Okay.
That's what you get.
Fine.
I've never identified as bisexual, but man, I have sat in some chairs weird. So take that with do with it with what you will.
That's why I'm like, I don't think that belongs to them.
Yep, it does.
Kinda. It kind of does. Also, again, I have never sat down and addressed it because I'm like, I'm fine. I'm in this little loop, but I'm like, yeah, okay. It's like I don't make it a thing, but I wouldn't pigeonhole my sexuality either. So
My favorite's still the one that this person redesigned the bisexual bride colors to, like it's like a slightly kind of like magenta. The other one's like a salmon.
And
Mainly
the color
because
code.
the color code spells dick 69 and boob 69. I was like, yeah.
Look, Norm in the chat is also mentioning the thing about, didn't Loki have sexy time with a horse?
He did. Banged a horse.
What I
not
understand,
in the comics, in Norse mythology.
In Norse mythology.
So like the real Loki, I guess. But it wasn't just sexy times with a horse. From what I've read, it's that Loki turns himself into a female horse, then gets fucked by a male horse, and thus becomes pregnant with a baby horse.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's any horse, normal horse. I do believe it is Odin's horse.
Yep.
Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse.
Okay, now it's weird.
Oh yeah.
Because it's your
Now it's
your dad.
weird?
Because it's your dad's horse.
Not his real dad.
There's still, there should be more of a barrier there. Don't fuck your dad's horse.
No.
There's some weird
No.
subtext there that
He didn't fuck his dad's horse. He gave birth to his dad's horse.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Sorry.
The baby horse that comes out of her horse.
Them.
Loki. Them horse Loki.
Horse Loki.
Wow.
Yeah, the purple episode was also the episode where they dealt with the fact that he's more pan and bisexual and gender fluid than we have ever been led to believe in the other episode. They
don't touch on it at all, which
nope.
almost feels like the show is sort of retconning that in a way. But I'm fine with it.
I just don't think it was ever brought up before, and
it wasn't.
True. If it's not appropriate to the situation, then it's weird.
Then it actually becomes pandering when you specifically bring out someone's sexuality when it has nothing to do with the story.
Right.
Plus, if you bring out his sexuality in Avengers, say, then you're making the bisexual the villain.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Which is a trope that is bullshit.
Yes.
Wait, what are other examples of the bisexual being the villain?
Bisexuals or queers in general being villains?
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
A lot.
I'm like, I can't think of a single example.
Yep.
Well, I don't think that counts because she's from the mirror universe and everyone's pretty open.
Yeah, but
in that universe.
But she extra evil for even the mirror universe.
Yep.
The Bond villain in Skyfall.
Yep.
I could go on a little bit more.
Skyfall was
or am I thinking of the one before Skyfall? The Javier Bardem.
No, Javier Bardem. You're right. Villain. Javier Bardem.
That was Skyfall, right?
Yeah.
It was a horrible Bond movie.
Hi, sleepy dog.
Is that the one where Bond gets tortured in the seatless chair?
No, that
was Casino Royale.
Mm.
That was Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Who was definitely portrayed as straight, but he's Mads Mikkelsen.
He's right.
And Mads Mikkelsen's sexuality is Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Mads Mikkelsen's gender is Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Skyfall is the one that becomes Home Alone. Literally becomes Home Alone.
And they kill Judi Dench.
Yeah. Although apparently in the original script, it wasn't. Skyfall is basically where like that. So Skyfall, I guess at one time was going to actually be the time where they admit that the moniker 007 is given the name of James Bond. And that if they survive long enough, they get to retire to this lovely country home in the North. And he turned it down, but the old man in the house of Skyfall was originally written to be Sean Connery. And he said he didn't want to do it. So they changed the story. He was pretty old and beat by the time he was kind of done doing anything. Yeah. So
that's fair.
Anyway,
Timothy Dalton still would have done it.
I'm like, he's not the only former Bond.
No.
But he's the Bond. If you show him, people will lose their minds. Timmy Dalton would.
I
be
think
dope.
it depends. I really think it depends on the person.
I would have lost it if they had done Roger Moore.
He definitely was in no position to act by then.
Yeah.
I'm not losing it for any of those guys. I don't care.
That's fine. Anyway, this episode of Loki was really good.
Yes, it was.
I can't wait to see how it ends. I think this is like, I have seen a lot of people dislike this show as much as I've seen people like it.
There's no real middle ground on this one.
No, there's not. I appreciate, I think the more unique dislike for this show comes from friend and former castmate Adam Roscoe. Is he had a visceral negative reaction to the look of the TVA in the first episode, where he's like, I can smell this set. I cannot watch this show.
All right, so he hates the 70s. That's
it was
not the show's fault.
But sort of it is. Like, they've chosen brutalist architecture for the show to represent the mediocrity of the bureaucracy that the TVA is. And he just immediately associated that with like grade school. I'm like, it's like, at some point, maybe I will watch this, but I cannot right now.
Right.
Wow,
Which fortunately, another friend went, go watch Legion. It's a lot of the same, what the fuck? And with a different kind of weird architecture.
And palette and stuff.
Also, if you haven't watched Legion, go watch Legion, because that's some fucked up shit.
I only ever watched the first season, and I know there's another one out that I never saw. So at this point, I just have to watch it all. I don't have to watch it all over again. The first season came out like 5 years ago.
It's hard to tell. 2020 was 16 years long, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
But by the time I realized that there was a second season of Legion, I did not jump on it because so much time had passed that I'm like,
yeah.
My feelings have since dissipated. No, that's not a chastisement of the show. It's just how my brain is.
Right.
If I go too long between one installment and the next, it's gone. I have to start over again, or never at all.
Yep. No, I'm at the same point. When I go to rewatch Legion, I'm gonna have to start at the beginning, which is fine. They're short seasons. It's like 10 episodes a season.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not.
They do the BBC model and not the American. Well, we have to do this for half a year.
I mean, that's slowly starting to go away, but yeah, no, you're right.
I think we're getting better television out of it. It's like, oh, here's your budget. Well, you can either have 6 really great episodes or, 13 really good episodes.
Out of 25.
Or, 26 mediocre episodes. It's like, yeah, I think we'll go to 13. And others will go, oh, now we're doing 6. We got the 6 shit in 6.
Thanks, Game of Thrones.
Quick little sidebar on other television shows. Did either of you ever watch the show Miracle Workers?
No.
I have not.
What is it?
Pretty fucking hilarious. So it's based on some satirical religious writing that came out a few years ago.
That's Daniel Radcliffe, right?
Yeah, he plays a low-level angel that has to has to deal with prayers because God has decided to check out to do his favorite hobbies. God is played by Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
Okay.
Season 1, it's kind of just a generic medieval timeline. Season 2, which by the way, they're not always perfectly connected. Season 2 is just called the Dark Ages, when things are just fucking awful. But they're jumping ahead for season 3. It's literally called Miracle Workers: The Oregon Trail. I'm kind of pumped for what they're going to do. If you have time, it's on seasons 1 and 2 on HBO Max right now. It's very bizarre and it's pretty damn great.
Yeah,
I just thought it was a medieval times show.
No.
Oh no. Yeah,
no.
The concept of the show got me, and then it's like, and it's Daniel Radcliffe and Steve Buscemi. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I will go out of my way to watch things Radcliffe is in, because the dude wants to do. It's like, I was Harry fucking Potter for 12 years.
And
I
now
can
I'm gonna
do-
get weird with it.
It's like I can do whatever I want.
Well, that's him and Elijah Wood. They got Hobbit and
Mhm.
Potter money.
Mhm.
I mean, Elijah Wood he produces like some of these great movies we've been watching.
Yes, he
Radcliffe's
does.
doing the same thing.
Well, what's funny is Elijah Wood was famous before the Lord of the Rings stuff. He'd been acting already for years.
I mean, so was Sean Astin, but like
that's true.
that movie raised their profile. From
It gave him a renaissance moment.
Yeah.
For Sean Astin.
They went from they're solid B actors to
yeah. Like Radcliffe did the Dead Guy movie, which I love.
Swiss Army Man?
The Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army Man.
I loved that movie.
Then either of you watch Guns Akimbo?
Yes.
I haven't yet.
You will love it.
I figured as much.
You will especially love the ending. That's all I'll say.
Cool.
Yeah. It's very solid. Yeah.
And speaking of other movies that we've talked about, Gunpowder Milkshake hits Netflix next Friday.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And it's a Netflix release. It's not a theater release. So I'm even more excited. I'm like, I can watch it and not leave home. Yay.
And I think I'm trying to also find out is when the Green Knight debuts here.
Oh, right.
We've got to be coming up on it. I think it debuted in Russia last year.
It's got to be soon.
Oh, July 31st. I just looked up on their own website.
Less than a month away.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that movie, which I do believe is one of Elijah Wood's. I think A24 is his company. I could be wrong.
A24?
Huh.
Yeah.
I think it is. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I could have sworn that it is his company or he owns part of it.
If only we could check.
Well,
Internet, you're not being super helpful right now.
By the way, if you ever go to A24's Films website, they have all kinds of weird shit for sale.
Yeah, they do a lot of merch. I
make sure it's paid internship, kids.
been like walking down the street and saw someone who had like the most amazing shirt for Hereditary.
Yeah, well, they put out a role-playing game for Green Knight that looks like an old school 80s D&D box set. And then they put out their scripts in these gorgeous hardcovers. I forgot A24 is Hereditary, Moonlight, The Witch, Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
I know. I always say it differently because in my head when I say Ex Machina, I always think the comic. That's just where my brain always goes. Yeah, there you go.
I think that's a show.
They are working on the